Fourth grade, Mrs. Collier here with day 5 of Unit 7, Creating Writing with Structure. So up to this point, you should have 4 paragraphs written. You should have your introduction and your 3 subtopic paragraphs written. If you haven't already, please make sure you send your teacher, either myself or Mrs. Rodard, your introduction paragraph. Take a picture and email it to us so that we can take a look and see that you are working through the process correctly. So today we're going to work on our final paragraph of our writing piece, which is our conclusion. Now our conclusion will look a lot like our introduction, but just a bit different. So let me take you through the process. What is the purpose of a conclusion paragraph? The conclusion basically restates the main ideas of what you've written throughout your writing piece. It wants to remind the readers of all the important points that you've made throughout. So it's just kind of like a reminder paragraph of what they just read. So what's it made up of? The beginning of your paragraph is going to state your main idea, what your topic is. So for example, the writing piece I was working on last week was about dogs. So I want to restate how I started my introduction about dogs. Then I'm going to move into restating our subtopics. So we want to make sure we tell our reader again what it is they read about. So in my example, my subtopics were how dogs play, how to keep them healthy, and how they make you feel. So I want to restate those subtopics. Then I want us to think about what subtopic was most important to you through your writing piece. And then finally, we're going to say why that was so important to us. So these last few sentences in our conclusion, we're offering our opinion. So let's take a look at how this is done. So we are going to go back first to our KWO and create our KWO before we start writing. So make sure you take that out from last week, and we're going to go to paragraph 5, which should be at the bottom. If you're writing it on your own, just make sure you put a V, Roman numeral V, that's 5, for the conclusion. So take a look at your example. The first line, again, is restating your main idea. So in my example, I used a quote in the beginning of my paragraph, my introduction paragraph. So I went back and looked at the quote. Now I don't want to say the quote again. I want to just take the idea from the quote and write it some other way. So the 3 words that I chose were ability, love, and much. They are right there. Then again, we move to the second line, which talks about the 3 subtopics. So I just listed there play, healthy, joy, because they were the 3 subtopics. Then the third line, again, we want to think about what is most important to us. What did we think was the most important subtopic? Well, I chose joy, that the feelings that the dog brings to our family, that is what I chose for my most important idea. So I thought about a sentence, and then I just pulled 3 words from the sentence I thought about, and I put joy, family, special. And this will make a lot more sense when I start creating my sentences. And the last one is my why. Again, I stopped and I thought about my sentence, what I wanted to say, why was that the most important subtopic to me? Why did I think that I want my reader to know more? And then I chose words from the sentence I created from my mind for my keyword outline. So I did feel, and now I put a heart there to show love, time, and home. Okay, and again, this will make more sense when I start to write the sentences. But again, don't forget to use your symbols, numbers, they're all freebies for you. So if you want to make sure you want to put a little bit more in your KWO, be sure to use your symbols and numbers as freebies. So let's put this all together now. How does this look? So the first sentence, again, We want to remind our reader of what it is our piece is about. Okay, we want to restate the main idea. So let's take a look at my example on dogs. Again, I used a quote from the author John Billings, and I don't want to reuse the quote. I just want to use the idea. So he talked about how dogs show love for us more than we show love for ourselves. So I just took the idea of how dogs love and I put it into a new sentence. Dogs do have the ability to love us so very much. So again, I took the idea behind the quote in my introduction and I reworded it. Now, this is going to lead me into restating my subtopics, which is your second and third sentences. Again, we want to remind our reader of what our subtopics were about. Now, this is important. You can do this in 1 or 2 sentences. You don't have to do it in 1. You can break it up into 2, or you don't have to do it in 2 and you can only use 1. So this is what I chose to do. They truly bring us so much joy. We can see this through the way they like to play and how we make an effort to keep them healthy. Now you're going to notice that I did not put them in the same order that I did in my KWO or in my written paragraph. I changed it up a little, and here's why. Because the next part is going to talk about what I thought was most important. And I didn't want my sentences to be the same back to back, so I mixed it up a little bit and I changed it. And you'll see it when I write the final piece at the end. Again, I didn't restate the subtopics in the same way I did in my introduction paragraph. I said it a little bit differently. So please go back and check your introduction paragraph and see how you said it, and make sure you just change it up a bit. So again, the fourth sentence is where we want to tell our reader what's most important, and the last sentence, which will be next, will tell us why. So let's take a look at what I did. So if you remember in the last page, I switched it up a bit. I did not restate my subtopic in the same order I did in the introduction, because I wanted to point out that the joy a dog brings to our family is what's most important to us. And I didn't want to have to say that 2 sentences in a row. So I kind of switched up the order of my subtopics, and it's okay to do that. So I said the joy our dogs bring to our family is so very special. So you notice that I did not say that how a dog makes me feel is my most important subtopic. You don't have to tell your reader, this is what I think is most important. You want to try to say your opinion, but without telling people that it's the most important. We're hoping your reader will get the idea that you think it's most important because you're showing such a strong opinion about that subtopic. So try to avoid saying, this is the most important subtopic to me, because that we don't really want to consider it a subtopic when your readers don't look at, when they're reading writing pieces, they don't look at it as, oh, these are subtopics. They just read your ideas. So again, try to express your opinion about how strongly you feel about that subtopic without telling us it's the most important. Because in the next sentence is your why. This is why did you choose that subtopic as most important to you. So you want to think about that before you actually start writing it. You want to give your reader, you don't want to just tell them, because I do. I think it's the most important. But what you want to do is you want to make sure you tell them why it's most important. So here's my example. They make us all feel loved each and every time we are home. So the joy the dog brings to our family is because no matter what room we're in, no matter how long we're gone, the dogs always show excitement and love for us when we're in the room. So that's why I chose the idea or subtopic of how a dog makes us feel as most important to me. Again, make sure you ask yourself why. Why is this so important to me? And that should just help you. So let's put it all together. So this is what my entire paragraph will look like all together. Dogs do have the ability to love us so very much. They truly bring us so much joy. We can see this through the way they like to play and how we make an effort to keep them healthy. The joy our dogs bring to our family is so very special to my family. They make us all feel loved each and every time we are around them. So now it's your turn. I want you to, once you create your keyword outline, I want you to first read over your introduction paragraph. That'll help you to create your keyword outline. Remind yourself of your main ideas, your subtopics. Go back and review all the slides we just showed you today for how to put your conclusion paragraph together. Create your KWO and then create your conclusion paragraph. So what do we do tomorrow on Tuesday? So again, at this point, you should now have 5 paragraphs written. So tomorrow, once you've completed it all, I want you to first reread your entire writing piece from beginning to end. Make sure everything flows, make sure everything makes sense. And then I want you to correct any spelling, grammar, or punctuation mistakes that you found along the way. Now, conclusion. You need to submit your conclusion into your teacher. So have your parents take a picture of your conclusion paragraph, just like they did for the introduction, and email it to your teacher. So for B, you're emailing it to me, and then for A, you're emailing it to Mrs. Redard. Make sure, parents, you put the word conclusion in the subject line, just so we don't lose it throughout the emails that we get throughout the day. And one thing I just want to point out, don't mark up your dress ups yet. This is something we're going to review because I feel like we haven't done it in so long that we need some practice reviewing. So we're going to take my writing piece on Wednesday and we are going to go through all the different dress ups. And then we are going to make some changes if we need to my final writing piece. So don't mark up any dress ups on your writing piece at this point. We'll do it together on Wednesday and Thursday. So I hope you were able to learn how to write a good conclusion paragraph. We look forward to reading them. I've already been reading some of your introductions, and I'll be providing some feedback as well as Mrs. Redard on some of those introductions on how we could make them better, or if they're already good, we'll make some mention of that as well. So happy writing, and we will talk to you soon. Bye now.